The letter arrived at The Tonight Show on a Tuesday afternoon. Handwritten, 12-year-old handwriting. It said, "Dear Mr. Carson, my mom is dying. The doctors say she has 3 weeks left, maybe less. Her dream was always to see me sing on your show. I know you get a million letters. I know I'm just a kid, but could you please help me give my mom this one last thing before she's gone? Please, I'm running out of time." Johnny Carson got thousands of letters a week, fan mail, requests, pitches. Most of them he never saw. But something about this one made his assistant put it on his desk. Maybe it was the handwriting. Maybe it was the words, "I'm running out of time." Maybe it was the fact that a 12-year-old shouldn't have to write a letter like that. Johnny read it again, and made a decision that would give a dying woman her final wish and teach America something about what really matters. This is the story of Emily Martinez, the 12-year-old girl who sang for her dying mother on The Tonight Show, and why the 4 minutes that followed changed everyone who saw it. Emily Martinez was 12 years old in October 1988. She lived in Sacramento, California, with her mother Patricia and her Aunt Maria. Emily had been singing since she was 5, not professionally, just for joy. In the shower, in the car, at family gatherings, Patricia would always say, "That girl has the voice of an angel." And she'd smile with pride that only mothers understand. Patricia worked as a nurse, single mom, doing everything she could to give Emily a good life. They didn't have much, but they had each other, and they had music. Right. On Friday nights, they'd watch The Tonight Show together. It was their tradition. Patricia would make popcorn. Emily would curl up next to her on the couch, and they'd watch Johnny Carson make America laugh. Sometimes there would be musical guests, and Patricia would look at Emily and say, "That could be you someday." Emily would laugh, "Mom, I'm just a kid who sings in the shower." But Patricia was serious. "You're special, mija. The world just doesn't know it yet." In August 1988, Patricia started feeling tired, more than usual. She'd come home from her nursing shifts exhausted, barely able to stand. She thought it was stress, too many hours, not enough sleep. But when the fatigue didn't go away, she went to the doctor. The tests came back on a Thursday afternoon. Stage 4, cancer, pancreatic, already spread. The doctor was gentle but honest. "I'm sorry, Patricia. We're looking at months, maybe weeks." Patricia sat in that examination room and felt her world collapse, not because she was afraid to die, but because she was leaving Emily, her 12-year-old daughter, her everything. Who was going to take care of her? Who was going to tell her she was special? Who was going to watch The Tonight Show with her on Friday nights? Patricia decided not to tell Emily right away. She wanted a few more normal days, a few more nights where Emily didn't look at her with fear. But kids aren't stupid, Emily noticed. Noticed her mom was weaker, noticed she wasn't eating, noticed the way Aunt Maria looked at Patricia with tears in her eyes one night. Emily asked directly, "Mom, are you sick?" Patricia couldn't lie. Not to Emily. So she told her about the cancer, told her what the doctors said, and Emily's world shattered. But she didn't cry. Not then. She held her mom's hand and said, "We're going to fight this. You're going to be okay." Patricia smiled. Didn't have the heart to tell her 12-year-old that sometimes fighting isn't enough. The weeks that followed were hard. Patricia got weaker. The cancer was aggressive. By October, she could barely get out of bed. The doctors adjusted their timeline. 3 weeks, maybe less. Aunt Maria moved in to help. To take care of both of them, one evening, Maria pulled Emily aside. "Your mom has something she's never told you, a dream." Emily looked confused. "What dream?" Maria smiled sadly. "Since you were 5 years old, your mom has dreamed about seeing you sing on The Tonight Show. She's never told you because she didn't want to pressure you, but it's all she's ever wanted. To see you shine in front of the whole world." Emily felt her heart break and swell at the same time. Her mom had a dream for her, and her mom was dying. Emily made a decision right then. If her mom only had weeks left, Emily was going to spend every moment trying to make that dream come true. She didn't know how, didn't know if it was even possible, but she had to try. That night, Emily sat down at the kitchen table with a piece of notebook paper and a pen, and she wrote a letter. To Johnny Carson, a man she'd never met, A man who got thousands of letters, a man who probably wouldn't even see hers, but she wrote it anyway, because what else could she do? The letter was simple, honest, desperate. Dear Mr. Carson, my mom is dying. The doctors say she has 3 weeks left, maybe less. Her dream was always to see me sing on your show. I know you get a million letters. I know I'm just a kid. But could you please help me give my mom this one last thing before she's gone? Please, I'm running out of time. Sincerely, Emily Martinez. Emily addressed the envelope to The Tonight Show, NBC Studios, Burbank, California. Put it in the mailbox and prayed. She didn't tell her mom, didn't want to get her hopes up, didn't want to disappoint her if nothing happened. But every day, Emily prayed that somehow, some way, Johnny Carson would read her letter. At NBC Studios in Burbank, Johnny Carson's assistant Linda sorted through the Daily Mail hundreds of letters. Fan mail, requests, people wanting tickets, people pitching ideas. Most of it she handled herself. Only the important stuff made it to Johnny's desk. But that Tuesday afternoon, Linda opened a letter that made her stop. 12-year-old handwriting. My mom is dying. Linda read the whole thing, read it twice, and felt tears in her eyes. She'd worked for Johnny for 8 years, knew him well enough to know he needed to see this. So she walked into his office and placed the letter on his desk. Johnny, you need to read this, now. Johnny looked up, saw the expression on Linda's face, and picked up the letter. Johnny read Emily's letter in silence. When he finished, he set it down, stared at it, then picked it up and read it again. Linda stood in the doorway, waiting. Johnny? Johnny looked up. His eyes were wet. How long does she have, the mother? Linda checked the letter. Emily says 3 weeks, maybe less. Johnny stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the parking lot, and made a decision. Get me a phone number for this family. I want to call them today. Linda nodded, started to leave. Johnny called after her. And Linda, clear a performance slot for next week. We're bringing Emily on the show. Linda smiled. She'd known Johnny would say that. That's who he was. 2 hours later, Emily's phone rang. Aunt Maria answered. Hello? A woman's voice. Hi, is this the Martinez residence? This is Linda calling from The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Maria almost dropped the phone. I'm sorry, what? Linda explained. Johnny had read Emily's letter. He wanted to bring Emily on the show. Next Thursday. Could they make it? Maria started crying. Yes, we'll be there. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. When Maria told Emily, the girl couldn't believe it. Johnny Carson had read her letter. Johnny Carson was going to let her sing on his show. Johnny Carson was going to make her mom's dream come true. Emily ran to her mother's bedroom. Patricia was sleeping. Emily gently woke her up. Mom, I have something to tell you. Patricia opened her eyes. What is it, mija? Emily took her mom's hand. You're going to see me sing on The Tonight Show next Thursday. Johnny Carson said yes. Patricia stared at her daughter. Didn't understand. What are you talking about? Emily explained. The letter, the dream, the phone call. And Patricia started crying. Not sad tears, grateful tears, disbelieving tears. You did that for me. Emily hugged her mom. You gave me everything. This is nothing. The next 6 days were a blur. Patricia was weak. So weak. The doctors weren't sure she'd survive the trip to Los Angeles, but Patricia was determined. I'm going to see my daughter on The Tonight Show if it's the last thing I do. Maria arranged everything: a wheelchair, oxygen, medication. They'd drive down to Burbank, stay in a hotel near the studio, whatever it took. Emily practiced her song over and over. She'd chosen Wind Beneath My Wings, because that's what her mom was, the wind beneath her wings. The reason she could fly, Emily wanted every note to be perfect, wanted to give her mom something beautiful to remember. Thursday, November 3rd, 1988. Maria drove Patricia and Emily to NBC Studios. Patricia was so weak she could barely sit up, but she was smiling, actually smiling. I can't believe this is happening. Emily held her mom's hand in the back seat. You're going to see me shine, Mom, just like you always dreamed. At the studio, Johnny's team had arranged everything. A wheelchair for Patricia, a spot in the VIP section, oxygen nearby if she needed it. And when Patricia was wheeled into that studio, when she saw The Tonight Show set in person, she started crying. "This is real. This is actually real." Emily kissed her mom's forehead. "I love you, Mom. This is for you." Johnny came out before the show started, walked over to Patricia, knelt down beside her wheelchair. "Mrs. Martinez, I'm Johnny Carson. Thank you for being here tonight." Patricia could barely speak. "Thank you. Thank you for doing this." Johnny squeezed her hand. "Your daughter wrote me a letter I'll never forget. You should be very proud of her." Patricia smiled through tears. "I am. She's everything." Johnny stood up, looked at Emily. "You ready?" Emily nodded. She was terrified, but ready. The show began. Johnny did his monologue. The audience laughed. Everything seemed normal, and then Johnny said something unexpected. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special performance tonight. A 12-year-old girl named Emily Martinez is going to sing for us. But this isn't just a performance. This is a gift. Emily's mother, Patricia, is here with us tonight. Patricia has been fighting cancer, and the doctors have told her she has very little time left. Emily wrote me a letter asking if I could help her give her mom one last gift, the gift of seeing her daughter sing on this stage. So tonight, that's what we're doing. Emily, come on out here." Emily walked onto the Tonight Show stage. The audience applauded, but it was quiet, respectful. They understood this was sacred. Emily stood at the microphone, looked out at the audience, found her mom in the VIP section. Patricia was crying, but she was smiling, and Emily thought, "This is the moment. This is what I came here to do." The music started, and Emily began to sing. "It must have been cold there in my shadow, to never have sunlight on your face." Emily sang every word directly to her mother. Never broke eye contact. This wasn't for the cameras. This wasn't for the audience. This was for Patricia, for the woman who'd given her life, who'd sacrificed everything, who was now leaving her too soon. By the second verse, Patricia was sobbing. By the chorus, the audience was crying. And by the final note, Johnny Carson was standing beside his desk with tears running down his face. When Emily finished, the audience gave her a standing ovation. But Emily didn't care about the applause. She ran off stage, straight to her mother, hugged her. "I love you, Mom. I love you so much." Patricia held her daughter. "You were perfect, mija. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this." Johnny walked over to them. The cameras followed. He knelt down beside Patricia's wheelchair again. "Mrs. Martinez, your daughter just gave one of the most beautiful performances we've ever had on this show. You should be incredibly proud." Patricia nodded, couldn't speak. Johnny stood up, addressed the cameras. "Sometimes television is about entertainment, but sometimes it's about something more important. Tonight was one of those times. Emily, thank you for reminding us what really matters." Patricia Martinez died 18 days later. On November 21st, 1988, she died at home, surrounded by family. And in her final days, she kept saying the same thing. "I saw my baby on The Tonight Show. I saw her shine. I got to see my dream come true." Emily was devastated by her mother's death, 12 years old and motherless, but she held on to something, the memory of that night, the look on her mom's face, the knowledge that she'd given her mom something precious, not more time, but a moment, a perfect, beautiful moment that nothing could take away. Years later, Emily Martinez became a professional singer, not famous, but working, performing, living the life her mother had dreamed for her. And before every performance, Emily does the same thing. She looks up, imagines her mom watching, and says, "This one's for you, Mom." In interviews, Emily always talks about that night on The Tonight Show. "Johnny Carson gave my mom her dying wish. But he gave me something too. He showed me that when you have power, you can choose to use it for something that matters, something real. Johnny didn't have to read my letter, didn't have to bring me on his show, but he did, because he understood that some moments are more important than entertainment. The lesson isn't just about Johnny Carson, it's about all of us, about what we do when someone asks for help, about how we respond when we have the power to give someone something they desperately need. Emily wrote a letter she didn't think anyone would read, to a man she didn't think cared, asking for something that seemed impossible. And Johnny read it and cared, and made it possible. Not because he had to, but because he could. And because in that moment he understood something fundamental, that giving a dying woman the chance to see her daughter shine mattered more than ratings or schedules or usual show format. Patricia Martinez got 3 weeks with her daughter after that night, 3 weeks where she could say, "I saw you on the Tonight Show." 3 weeks where that memory brought her joy in the midst of pain. 3 weeks that were made more bearable because one dream had come true and Emily got something too. She got to give her mother a gift, got to see her mom smile, got to make her mom proud, and got to learn that sometimes asking for help leads to miracles. If this story moved you, think about the people in your life who are running out of time. What dreams do they have? What could you do to help make them come true? Subscribe for more stories about the moments when someone chose compassion over convenience. Share this with someone who needs to remember that some moments matter more than anything else. And leave a comment. What would you do if someone you loved had 3 weeks left? Because Emily Martinez taught us something that night on The Tonight Show. She taught us that love means trying, even when it seems impossible, even when you don't think anyone will listen, even when you're just a 12-year-old kid with a handwritten letter. You try. And sometimes, someone reads that letter, someone cares, someone says yes. And for 4 minutes, everything that matters comes together in one perfect, heartbreaking, beautiful moment. That's what Johnny Carson gave Patricia Martinez. Not more time, but a moment. One shining, perfect moment when a mother got to watch her daughter's dream come true. And sometimes, that's everything.